I will say I was surprised. I spoke to a number of CEOs who I would say walked into the meeting being Trump supporter-ish or thinking that they might be leaning that direction, who said that he was remarkably meandering, could not keep a straight thought, was all over the map, and that they, which may be not surprising, but was interesting to me because these were people who I think might have been actually predisposed to him and actually walked out of the room less predisposed to him, actually predisposed to thinking this is not necessarily, as one person said, this may not be any different or better than a Biden thought if you're thinking that way.
Remarkably meandering? That's all he ever is meandering. It's amazing how little attention these business people pay. But it turns out they're probably gonna support him anyway because of something that Donald Trump promised them. We're gonna get to that in a second.
Thanks for watching. Our audience has helped build TYT into the media giant it is today. Together, we can accomplish anything. Support our work and join us at tyt.com/team.
John's got the facts.
We will, yeah. They'll give the support, they just won't necessarily give the respect to him. But all of this is coming out of Donald Trump's meeting with a group of about 80 CEOs on the Hill. That includes Tim Cook, Jamie Dimon, a number of others representing tech companies and finance companies and things like that. And according to Andrew Ross Sorkin, as you saw in that clip, they did not come away very impressed by what they heard. He wasn't the only one reporting that, by the way. CNBC's Brian Schwartz doubled down, tweeting, "What I heard from a person close to one of the CEOs, Trump doesn't know what he's talking about. Why? Many of the ideas lack details and some likely will need Congress."
Of course.
Of course. Yeah. Were these CEOs just crafted in a lab yesterday? That's what he is. He doesn't know what he's talking about and he has no idea how government works. But anyway, like again, I'm not saying you have to study his speeches, just listen to the people who worked with Donald Trump. His chief economic advisor, Gary Cohn, once described him as dumb as S. I'll blank that out, explaining that Trump won't read anything, not one-page memos, not the brief policy papers, nothing. He gets up halfway through meetings with world leaders because he is bored. And I've always said, so many people rant about the attention span of Gen Z, but it's former presidents that we need to worry about their attention span. And anyway, look, and then of course there's the stuff that he says that should convince you that he's a moron. Listen to this.
I say, what would happen if the boat sank from its weight and you're in the boat and you have this tremendously powerful battery and the battery's now underwater and there's a shark that's approximately 10 yards over there? Do I get electrocuted? If the boat is sinking, water goes over the battery, the boat is sinking. Do I stay on top of the boat and get electrocuted? Or do I jump over by the shark and not get electrocuted? All I know about magnets is this. Give me a glass of water. Let me drop it on the magnets. That's the end of the magnets.
Another Republican source told reporters that Trump was rambling to the crowd, said it was like, and I quote, talking to your drunk uncle at the family reunion.
I don't think that's how magnets work. But and bear in mind, that shark electrocution thing is basically what we're talking about with the CEOs. Because the story he was telling at that rally was him recounting a story he'd told to a guy who sells boats. And in Trump's mind, that story impressed the boat seller so much that he came away thinking Trump was very smart. Because Trump doesn't know what he's talking about and tells experts his dumb, stupid kid version of it and doesn't realize that people leave every conversation with him with less respect than they entered it. And in this case, with the CEOs, he wasn't talking about electrocution or boats or magnets or whatever. He was talking about wanting to cut income taxes like all the way. Corporate taxes to 20% from 21, but income taxes gone. We won't have any more, and instead the government will be funded by new tariffs, which is an absolute joke for a variety of reasons and would result in a massive decrease in effective income and wealth for virtually everyone who's not in the 1%. But he's talking about these things like tariffs with people who actually know what those are, and I am sure amongst themselves they are laughing their asses off at him.
Yeah, and by the way, tariffs, especially at that scale, would lead to massive inflation. Massive.
Yes.
So, okay, look, I'm curious what the CEOs think. Really, I am. And you guys might be surprised at my guess because there's only two possibilities here. One is that the CEOs know nothing about politics and and they've never seen a Trump speech, they've never heard him speak, and the first time they hear him speak, they're like, whoa, holy cow, that guy's dumb, right? Or they thought it was an act because the public likes it, right? And the public does like it. You have to distinguish. So when he goes on those big giant weirdo rants on his rallies, oh, they love it. They eat it up. They're like, oh, dude, man, shark or magnet, or dude, oh, I don't know. He's so great, so smart, shark or magnet. Okay, they're gonna start a new show. So,
if only.
So maybe they think, hey, look, we're all, relatively speaking, liars here, right? And we tell people, oh yeah, we're out looking out for the best interest of our consumers, etc. Meanwhile, we're like, charge them more. So he's probably doing the same thing, right? But really, you think he's acting dumb in front of the cameras, but when he goes behind the scenes, all of a sudden he's a genius? But on the other hand, the Democrats say, oh, you should see Joe Biden behind the scenes. Dynamo. Come on, guys. So one guy's acting senile, and the other guy's acting like a moron, but behind the scenes they're geniuses? No. Trump is a mess. He's one of the dumbest people who has ever been in politics. I mean, John, we could give 100 examples, but remember the harebrained idea, should we nuke a hurricane? Can we stop the hurricane by launching nukes at it? And they're like, sir, that would spread it to the entire eastern coast, like the entire please, we're begging you, no, okay. And then remember when the hurricane came by and he lied about it? So he used a magic marker to change the path of the hurricane? I mean, he's a child.
He's a child. He's like, but in Meg 2, the trench, what they did to lure him out, and it's like, sir, like, it's wild. It is wild. I didn't mean to interrupt you, Cenk. I don't know if you were done, but I'll let me just keep going with my thought, which is, I think it's telling that he's meeting with these CEOs instead of working people. Look, I'm not saying that the Biden campaign is not also heavily compromised by money, but I do think that the one thing they've got going for them is some of their stances in the FTC and their antitrust, right? Looking into Google, going after Amazon, like those are huge things. There is a willingness not to break up big tech, but to hold them accountable for some of their anti-business practices, their anti-capitalistic practices, if you want to be real with it. And so, but it's and the fact that, Joe Biden's also endorsed by the head of the UAW, Sean Fain. He walked a picket line. Then you've got Donald Trump being like, literally at Mar-a-Lago, like, all right, oil executives, what do you get? Give me $1 billion and you can literally you can dig for oil in the White House. Like, that's all that matters. And it's so transactional. What's crazy to me is, Cenk, I think it's gotten worse. Like, I absolutely think Trump's brain is far more melty, just like Biden's brain is melty. They're two types of different kinds of senility. It's just pick your poison. But I also think it's crazy to this is what the CEOs have to decide. Do they want the lower corporate tax rate? Do they want, and then for personally a lower tax rate, do they want, again, all the tax breaks that expire in 2025 to be extended, which they benefited from personally? Do they want to make sure that there won't be a raise in a minimum wage, which is a much less of a threat to their bottom lines and their shareholders under Trump versus under Biden, although who knows? But also, do you gamble with this tariffs plan, which, what are we gonna slap a bunch of tariffs on China, who not only are building our goods, hello Tim Cook and Apple, but like that we import everything from, and they're gonna be slapped with tariffs? Who is that gonna hurt? It's gonna hurt them. It's gonna hurt their cost of manufacturing. It's gonna hurt the American consumer. Like, you gotta wonder if they're actually kind of scared that his idiocy, especially around the economy, might actually go and bite them in the ass.
Yeah. So look, guys, I want to focus on one last thing here on that I think is the most important. Like, so Trump's a dumbass. Welcome to America. Welcome to the year 2024. Okay, we all know that, right? If you're conscious at all, you know that. But the most important thing here is he's saying basically the same thing he told the oil executives: give me $1 billion, and I give you whatever you want. And that way we'll make these dumbass Americans live under corporate rule, and they won't know it. And he not only did he promise them corporate tax cuts, he promised them deregulation. So you can poison the local lake and the kids, who cares? Just give me the money, I'll let you poison anything you like. You're spending extra money for the safety of your workers. You don't have to do that anymore. Your workers can get their arms and legs chopped off. I don't care, just give me the goddamn money and you guys are in charge. I give you, this is the guy pretending to be a populist. That income tax proposal has no chance of passing. It would bankrupt the country and make us a banana republic. We'd have inflation at 100, 200% if we took all income taxes away and just made it all tariffs. It would be insanity, and the average American, as John pointed out, would have to pay almost all the taxes. The rich would pay almost none of the taxes. So he is just a giant thief in favor of corporations. He just has verbal diarrhea, so he just tells them. He's like, you give me money, I let you hurt people, and I give you money, thereby take people's money, I give it to you. They don't even know. They think I'm on their side. I just give it to you, and then you can hurt them too. Right, and they're like, wow, that's not very subtle. Usually when politicians come in, they say the same exact thing, but they do it in a sophisticated way. So let's keep it real. Trump is not on your side if you're an average American. If you're average MAGA, he's given away everything so that you live under corporate rule and your family's hurt. But at the same time, mainstream media, don't tell me that this is shocking news to you and only Trump does it. Everybody, including Hillary Clinton, gives the same exact speech, except not as ridiculous as I'm gonna get rid of all income taxes. And she's way more sophisticated about it. Now, of course, we could look into creating innovation through deregulation, and and obviously open up the freedom of the banks and the oil companies that really provide even more stimulation for the economy through lower tax cuts and lower rates and blah blah. Same exact thing. You give me the money, I take the poor American people's money, and I give it to you.
Thanks for watching. If you become a member, you get to watch all this ad-free, except for, of course, this ad. Still, hit the join button below.